Happy Sunday night from the low budget superhero lair. I'm reading The Weirdest Thing, and well, I don't know how to feel about it. Here's what happened. My grammar school, so where I went up to 1984. Is that right? Yes. I forget. It's getting to be decades now from when I was that age. It's getting hard to remember the years until I think about it. Yeah, so St. Margaret's Grammar School was my school. I went there my entire, except for one semester of kindergarten before we moved to Waterville Street in Waterbury. So I started first grade at St. Margaret's. I went there all the way up to 8th grade. We actually moved away from Waterbury, and I wasn't supposed to. How come when I do these at night, I'm always like, hey, like all up close, like there's just one of you. I'm talking to you. I'm going to tell you this story. I'll promise not to ramble on a little bit. So we lived in Waterbury, Connecticut, in a ranch house that my mom had painted pink. She kept saying it was peach. It was a decades-long argument whether it was pink or peach. It's probably, if I called her up tomorrow and I was like, remember the pink house? I bet you, click the thing and send me $10 if she doesn't say, it was peach. I swear to God, I might make enough to get new glasses. These glasses are too old. It was peach. It was a pink house, which was so not cool. I was like, oh, you're the girl that lives in the pink house the whole time. Even now, if one of them, because that's what I'm about to tell you, I'm in touch with these guys. A lot of them, most of them. If one of them had needed some prodding, which girl is she? Who's this one? You know, like the girl that lived in the pink house. Seriously, it was not cool. And then when Little Pink Houses came out later, we had moved by then. Then it was cool. Then I was like, yeah, I lived in a pink house before any of you guys. I've never heard of a pink house. And I was like very proud of the pink house. Once again, my mama, Joanna, with the win. That bitch falls ass backwards, upwards. You don't even know the stories. But, yeah, I lived in a pink house. And that's when I went to St. Margaret's School the whole time until high school. The last year, really, we moved away from that house. I wasn't even supposed to go still because we went to Woodbury, Connecticut. But, what we did was we didn't change anything because I had one more year. I was in 7th grade when we moved from Waterbury to Woodbury. And then, of course, they wanted me to finish. And for Michael, it was perfect because he would be starting at a good place too. But for that whole last year, my father, my dad, Louis drove us. Because he still had to work in Waterbury. He's a painter, a contractor. He still is. Dude, he's got to retire. He's like 70. Get off the ladder, Lou. It's okay. You can relax. He's not so much good at the relaxing, that one. Yeah, so we moved. And so for that whole last year, we moved in the summer, so it actually sucked. So 7th grade, summer after 7th grade was miserable because I was not near my friends anymore in Waterbury. We are in this place and it was crazy. I couldn't believe I was going to be able to survive the summer isolated. I mean, we moved into, not the Woodbury house, but that was kind of a temporary stop, the house after. So I'm in 7th grade. I say goodbye to my friends for the summer, and knowing they're going to spend every day together, probably go skating at Skate Odyssey. Next to Skate Odyssey, a few doors down, was the arcade Crazy 8, and there were video games in Skate Odyssey too, or Roller Magic if somebody's mom could give us a ride. We all preferred Skate Odyssey. That was great. I was fucking devastated, man. And you have to know, Waterbury, it's a small city. It's a city, but it's small. It's kind of its own island of misfit toys. And, yeah, they moved us because it was a big enough city to not feel safe. And my mom tells it that I was growing up and turning from a little girl into a young woman and developing. And she says that she saw some older guys on the corner, calling out to me. And I was probably like, hi. I had no idea. None. I was so not ready for my own sexuality that, like, fuck you to people who didn't prepare me or any other little girl for that. You showed us diagrams, and it embarrassed us in so many ways. Fucking nuns. The amount of time spent discussing our knees. As it turns out, at no time in life, Sister Mary, what the fuck, were my knees the thing about me that got me into trouble. And I didn't even like the fucking skirt. To begin with, no one did. Those were the worst uniforms. And then when we started to develop, I don't know what you thought you were doing with the boxy, tube of plaid nightmare. But if you thought that was going to hide what happens to us in like 7th grade, you're not hiding this shit. I don't know what to tell you, man, but the Catholic education, especially in the case of girls, I think we're at the most at a disadvantage, although the whole entire Catholic education is a mental mindfuck in its own. But we'll talk about that. I want to talk to my friend Jeffrey about that. We've known each other like 25 years, and he's devout, and I want to have a conversation for the blog about being angry with God. He and I have talked about it, but I think I can get him to have a call. And that's where that was the environment in this little school with these nuns in Little Waterbury, Connecticut. And I'm saying goodbye to my girlfriends. And that whole summer I spent just wondering what was next. And then 8th grade starts, and I was so happy to see them again. But it was a sad thing because, in those days it was expensive to make a phone call, even from Waterbury to Roxbury. Plus, there's one phone in the house, maybe two, but it's not a separate line. So, like my best friend Michelle in those days, Michelle Brown, and we lived on the same street, but like way up the street. The street's like, I don't know how many miles long, but they didn't want us walking back and forth to it. She lived that side. I was at the kind of top of the street, but she's my best friend, and then she wasn't my best friend anymore after that summer because we couldn't spend the amount of time. And they did things. Colleen and Simone were the other part of our group. It was Michelle, Colleen, Simone, and me, and then there was another girl, Jennifer, who came in 7th grade. But I don't think of her as like the core group because we all sort of. Colleen was there the longest. She started even earlier than I did, but they're good girls, and we got together as adults a few times, and it's actually the little sister of a dude who's in our class who posted this crazy thing, which is that the school, St. Margaret's, which it's been closed. I think I saw it just a couple of years before it closed for good. And the church, it's all closed now. It's tiny. It's like it's like very, very small parish, and they wrote a letter to Rome because they didn't. I guess the community didn't like how it was closed. This is so weird to me. I don't know how to feel about it. It's bizarre. I'm going to talk about it again after this, but she wrote, there was an appeal filed to Rome about the closing of St. Margaret's. We did not feel the process was done correctly and exercised our right to appeal. The case is in Rome now, and we are waiting for a response. A decree was read at St. Anne's, where we were told to merge with, oh, I didn't know that, and that the sale will go through despite our pending appeal. This is confusing to me. Well, she goes on to just say that the parish is confused and hurt and truly feel like lost sheep with no guidance or support through the process. I can't, on any level, find something in this that connects with me. Maybe if I hadn't moved, I mean, I really moved that summer, but that last year, I felt like I was looking in from the outside. We had not gone to church once all summer because it was just too far a drive that we do every single day. I mean, my father didn't always work in Waterbury, so he would have to drive us from Woodbury back to Waterbury every morning for school, whether he had work in that area or not. And sometimes he had to work far away. And because of that, we went to my grandma Lombardi's, every day after school. That whole last year. And then we'd go back to Woodbury, where we would go to sleep and get up the next day and do it all over again. It was such a strange year. I think I changed a lot in that year. In fact, I know I did, because my bully, her name was Kenitha, and I'm using her real name because I've looked for her online. I don't know if she changed it or she's not online, but it would be interesting to talk to her because she was my bully. Everyone else knows it. Me and Colleen and Simone talk about it, and she was everyone's bully who was able to be bullied. Let's put it that way. There's just some people that weren't. And when I came back from that summer of not being kind of immersed in this institution where we were shoved into plaid sausage casings, and every girl developed differently, and it was like, I don't know what looked worse, if those things hung on you like a potato sack, or if they just started to pull across the top. That was certainly what mine did. I'm wearing a sweater in every picture because I couldn't control the top of the friggin' jumper. I'm in 8th grade. I'm Italian. This is not going to contain this shit. And it's not my fault that all this is happening. So fuck you for the lifelong body images, okay, sister, whatever? I mean, this is the thing. I have a lot of rage. I know I do. I mean, it's not like Mark Maron level rage or anything. Or maybe it's my version of it, which... There has to be a point, I think, and I had reached it, where it didn't matter. And you could sort of step back enough to feel that it didn't matter. And I guess I came back disenchanted. I was all ridiculous to me all of a sudden, and has continued to be ridiculous. This Catholic school on this cement playground with the hopscotch drawn, and these strange men in black that were always around, and the nuns, which just talk about not really thinking about the marketing. The women that we saw most of the day, every day, were some of the most miserable people I have ever encountered. I mean, if you ask me to name like the top 3 unpleasant people I've encountered in my life, number 2 would be my first grade teacher. I mean, Sister Mary, what the fuck, was like... It's a big ask for little kids to put up with being ridiculed and put down, yelled at, belittled, just made to feel like you're the worst people. She put one of our classmates who'd been kept back a year or 2. I can't remember how many years she was kept back, at least 1, and she was therefore a good deal taller, but she was still, I think she had problems, I think. And I could tell that. Like, I emblazoned in my memory, like I can see it right in my mind's eye, is this nun picking up my friend and putting her into the trash bin. And she had to stand there until she knows what she did wrong. These are the people you want us to learn from? To take what they're telling us as the words to live by? And that if we take this into our hearts... I might have worn the cross around my neck, but I didn't like it. I would have worn it if I liked it. I didn't care. It was just... I don't know how you get indoctrinated into something like, a religion so early. And, because everything that happens next is a mind fuck. It's gonna be. But what you've started us with, none of the tools we need. None. I don't care how many Hail Marys I give you. Shit's going down. This is the topic I want to cover next week. I'm going to work hard to see if I can get that phone call. If anybody has ideas about how best to do it, I think I might have a Google Voice solution. I just don't know about the quality. I wish I could sound really good, But I'm going to talk to a friend about what it means to grow up in a faith and be able to stick to it the whole time. Like this lady here who's about 4 years my junior, if I'm remembering. My classmate was David, and he's such a great guy. He still lives in Connecticut, and this is his little sister. And she's clearly, well, like she says, feeling like a lost sheep because St. Margaret's closed. I'm just amazed. I keep thinking about it like, what if we didn't move away that summer? Would I? It's like a ghost walking over the grave kind of feeling to think about. I feel sorry for her. She's clearly broken up about it, but that's amazing. See you next week.